The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the HabitBased Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse Ewing. This is the habit-based lifestyle where you can access your full potential right now. Finally break free from destructive habits. That dream life, if you want it, you can have it. This is where you transform your health, mind, business, and relationships, or do nothing and keep your life the way it is. But if you're ready for change, you're in the right place. This is where you're gonna learn how to live a habit-based lifestyle. You are tuning in to the HabitBased Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Jesse Ewing. This is the HabitBased Lifestyle. Let's go.
If this is your first time tuning into this podcast, I would like to welcome you and thank you for listening. If you are a regular and coming back for your second time, thank you. So before we get started today on today's episode, I want to talk about this one thing. What makes your identity? What makes you who you are? The more you let a single belief define you, the less capable you are at adapting when life challenges you. So what does that even mean? If I believe myself to be someone, it's harder to be someone different when life challenges you. When we have a challenge in life, if I'm stuck or rigid in my belief, it is harder for me to adapt once life challenges me. Now, here's a story of my life. Nearly 16 years, I let the identity of a trainer literally define me. Like at 20, 21 years old, I wanted nothing more than to be a personal trainer. I carried that for the next 16 years. This was a major part of who I was, a major part of my identity. It was all I could see myself doing. It was all I wanted to ever do. And as I worked through this entire process of working for box gyms, working for different styles of training, different gyms, I finally found myself in this place back in 2007, where I would come to this decision of, hey, I would leave my current job, which at the time I was getting paid fairly well, and I was working for another gym, or I could go start my own training facility, my own business. And for the last 12 years, I actually owned and operated my own gyms. I had 2 training facilities in Washington State. I still worked as a trainer for probably the first 8-9 years, where literally, I'm training a couple hundred sessions every month. But the last 3 to 4 years, I've seen my personal training career slowly going away and a new level of training and leading that emerged, which was me beginning to lead men, me beginning to live this warrior's way, this way of living that I had talked about on previous episodes that I had found and that I seeked out on my own. So since I sold my gyms back in August, one of the biggest things that I've struggled with is just to find myself in this new identity. And when you spend your whole life defining yourself one way and then that way disappears, then what do you actually have left over? And what you're left with is a very simple question. Like, who am I now? Who am I today? Think about this in your own life. Imagine if you've been in a career for any length of time or been known a certain way, and then all of a sudden one day that's gone. And you too are left with this simple question of, who am I now? And as I began to explore this question, I began to start redefining myself, who I was, and what my purpose was in life. Now, selling my business has given me this renewed sense of freedom. But I want you to also understand that with that, what it's also created is some chaos. So I can remember early on in my business, one of the first continuing education seminars I went to, the guy started laying out statistics, and it was like, hey, the average gym, 50% of gyms or 60% of gyms make it past the first year. Then it was like 70% make it past the second year. Don't make it. So 60% of gyms don't make it past the first year. 70% didn't make it past the third year or second year. And then like 85% didn't make it past the third year. And then it was 90% didn't make it past the fifth year. And then 98% didn't make it past the 10th year. And I remember that day hearing this message of, man, that's not going to be me. But think about this. When you're told this within 1 to 2 years of opening your first business, having kids, the stress, the pressure, and someone stands up and tells you, hey, in 5 years, if you still have your business, you have a 10% chance of keeping it. And in 10 years, you keep your business for 10 years, you have a 2% chance of keeping it. Like, that's a crazy statistic. But inside of this, there was some questions that I had to start answering. Who do I believe myself to be? This question continued to emerge day after day. I never wanted to be just a trainer. Yet this is what I let people define me by. This is what I carried, but I wanted to be more. I wanted to be more than just this trainer. I wanted to change people's lives. That's a given. But I also wanted to create results, create impact. I wanted to leverage the things that I had built in my past. I wanted to leverage the way that I was brought up in this training environment. And when I first started training, and keep those important aspects of my identity, even if it meant my role changed. So I had to own all of my past. I had to own all of the important aspects and roles I had played and begin to leverage these aspects into my new identity. So I came up with these very simple things. I'm a coach and trainer. I get to teach people how to maximize their lifestyle. I'm an athlete. I'm dating all the way back to grade school, junior high, high school. I've always been an athlete. I'm the type of person who loves physical challenges. I love to work hard. I'm mentally tough. And one of the biggest things that I love about being an athlete is being consistent, and it's taught me, and just being committed. I'm also a CEO and an entrepreneur. I've owned my own business for the last 12 years. And a CEO and entrepreneur is someone who gets to build and create things. This is one of the things I love about my own business. Now, I realize that my identity can be flexible. So what do I mean by flexible? I can leverage my past experience for my future growth. So I'm going to say this one more time. I realize that my identity can be flexible. When we're rigid in our identity, then when stuff comes at us, like, it's hard to change who we are. It's hard to change that belief. But if it's flexible, then I can adapt and I can continue to change no matter what challenge comes to me. So I begin to leverage my past experiences for my future growth. So think about this. As a trainer, I got to teach people how to maximize their lifestyle in the weight room and in nutrition. But then I add in this other element of coaching, what I've been doing the last 4 years. Now we're not just talking about stuff we do in the gym. We're talking about being, my spirituality. We're talking about balance, my relationships. And then we start talking about business. And the crazy thing about business is there's a lot of people in the marketplace that'll tell you how to build a business that have never built a business or owned a business. When you have the freedom to build and create things, and you get to actually launch them and see them grow and flourish, it's a whole lot different than being on a team that does that. Now, I'm not discrediting someone who's on a team or in a role like that, but what I am saying is when you're an entrepreneur and you control your own game, it's a completely different perspective when you're building and creating, when you're the one actually doing this. And knowing I can be flexible in who I am, I can be flexible in who I believe myself to be, this is what makes me unique. This is what makes you unique. Because guess what? What makes you unique is the identity and the person and the experiences you've been through. No experiences are identical. No experiences are the same. There's some similarities, but no one has the same exact experiences that I've had. And this is all based off growth, who we are as a person, and who we have become. This is the exact reason why I created this program, Habit-Based Lifestyle. This is why in 2019 I'm launching this, is because I want people to be flexible in their identity. I want them to leverage, and I want to teach them how to leverage their past experiences, good or bad, to create this future growth. I want people to maximize their lifestyle, and I want people who physically want to challenge, who want to work hard, who want to learn how to be mentally tough, and who want to be consistent and be committed in building and creating things inside of their life and out inside of their businesses in all areas of life, body, being, balance, and business. So habit-based lifestyle is nothing more than a program to maximize your life, leverage your past experience to build and create a new future. So with that being said, I'm going to ask you one simple question, and then we're going to wrap this up. So what is the one habit you could begin to work on that can be flexible in creating your new identity? For me, it was just simply writing down and answering this question, like, who do I believe myself to be? And I started coming up with these I am statements. I'm a coach. I'm a trainer. This is who I believed myself to be. But when I actually sat down is what characteristics does a coach and trainer carry? What characteristics does an athlete have? What characteristics does an entrepreneur or CEO have? These are the things that began to shape this new identity. So as you answer this, take some time this week or even today just to begin to write down this simple question. What is the one habit you could begin to work on that can be flexible in creating your new identity? Guys, I appreciate you listening today. My hope is that you find value in this and you begin to maximize your lifestyle. This habit, simple habit of journaling, began to change my life. It began to let me answer questions that I couldn't just answer out of my head. I had to begin to seek and write them down. So use 5 minutes of your day to just begin answering this simple question. And I will see you guys back with the next episode. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and I will see you next time.
The purpose of this show is to guide you to realign with habits that get you to live the life you've always dreamed of. This is the Habit-Based Lifestyle Podcast with Jesse